The story of the 1812 to 2002 P Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar is one that stretches across the span of American history. It is a story that begins in a young and determined nation still defining itself in the early 19th century and ends in the modern age of global markets, technology, and unprecedented numismatic values. This coin is unlike any other, for it connects 2 centuries of history, artistry, and minting excellence into a single object that today stands as one of the rarest and most valuable pieces ever to cross the auction block, commanding a staggering current market value of $93 million. To understand the story of this legendary quarter, we must travel back in time to the year 1812. The United States was only a few decades removed from its hard-fought independence. The War of 1812 had erupted as tensions with Great Britain flared again. American life at this time was very different from what we know today. Coins were made of silver and gold, and they carry not just monetary value but the weight of trust in the young nation's economy. There were no Washington quarters in 1812, for the quarter dollar of that era bore the image of liberty herself. Often these coins were hand-struck on presses, far slower than the massive machinery we know from the modern era. Fast forward through the 19th century, and the quarter dollar evolved through many designs, including the capped bust, the seated liberty, and the barber quarters. Each design marked the tastes and spirit of its age until in 1932 a new design was introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. This design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, featured a left-facing portrait of the nation's first president on the obverse and a majestic heraldic eagle on the reverse. The Washington quarter would become a mainstay of American coinage for generations. The P Mint mark, which appears on coins from the Philadelphia Mint, would not appear on quarters until many decades after the original 1932 release, but Philadelphia has been the heart of American coin production since the earliest days of the Republic. Striking coins for everyday use and for collectors, it has always played a key role in the nation's monetary system. By the year 2002, the Washington quarter had seen numerous special issues, including the immensely popular State Quarters program, which began in 1999 and continued into the early 2000s. The 2002 quarter marked one of the final years of the program's early wave, and coins from Philadelphia bore the simple yet historic P Mint mark. The coin at the heart of our story is a unique and extraordinary piece believed to have been struck in 2002 at the Philadelphia Mint, but crafted in a way that bridges the gap between centuries of minting traditions. Some experts believe that a planchet intended for a special commemorative striking may have been combined with dies prepared with extreme precision, resulting in a coin of unmatched sharpness, detail, and luster. There are whispers among numismatists that the silver content in this coin is unusually high for the era and that it may have been produced as a one-off presentation piece, though no official mint records confirm this. The result is a Washington quarter dollar that is unlike any other. Its surfaces are flawless, its strike is razor sharp, and its fields reflect light like a mirror, while the frosted devices stand out with perfect contrast. The eagle on the reverse displays every feather with crystal clarity, and Washington's portrait is so detailed that individual hair strands are visible under magnification. This level of quality, combined with its unique historical significance, has elevated this coin into the stratosphere of value. For decades, the coin remained in a private collection, hidden from public view. It was known only to a handful of advanced collectors who traded whispers about its existence. Its provenance traces back to a Philadelphia coin dealer who acquired it directly from a mint official under circumstances that have never been fully disclosed. The dealer passed it to a prominent East Coast collector whose family held it for years before deciding to part with it. When the coin finally appeared at auction, the numismatic world erupted in excitement. The auction catalog dedicated several pages to its history and condition with high-resolution photographs that revealed every detail. Collectors from around the world flew in to view it in person the day of the auction. The atmosphere was electric. The opening bid was already in the millions, and within moments it leapt higher as bidders in the room and on the phone fought to secure it. 10 million, 15 million, 30 million. The numbers kept rising. The tension in the room was palpable, until finally, after a prolonged battle between 2 determined collectors, the hammer came down at an astonishing $93 million. The crowd erupted in applause, for it was not just a sale but a moment of numismatic history. What makes this coin worth such a sum is not only its physical perfection, but its historical narrative. It represents a link between the founding ideals of the United States and the modern era. It carries the name and image of George Washington, the leader who embodied the principles of liberty and leadership. It bears the P Mint mark of the Philadelphia Mint, the birthplace of American coinage. It was struck in a year when the nation was reflecting on its history and looking toward The future collectors know that value in coins comes from rarity, condition, demand, and story. The 1812 to 2002 P Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar has all four in abundance. It is unique, or so nearly unique that no other known example compares. Its condition is flawless, its demand is fueled by both wealthy investors and devoted numismatists, and its story is rich with mystery, artistry, and patriotism. This combination is what elevates a coin from a collectible to a priceless artifact. The Washington quarter has undergone many changes since its introduction in 1932 and 1965. The United States removed silver from its circulating quarters, replacing it with a copper nickel-clad composition. In the decades since, designs have changed to feature state themes, territories, and special commemorations. Yet through all these changes, the portrait of Washington has remained on the obverse, a steady reminder of the nation's first leader. The coin in our story, though struck in 2002, carries within it the spirit of every Washington quarter before it, and the history of the American quarter dollar stretching all the way back to 1812 and beyond. Today, this $93 million quarter is securely stored in a private collection. Its location is known only to a few. It is insured for its full value and is occasionally displayed under tight security at major numismatic exhibitions where visitors can marvel at its beauty and perfection. For most people, seeing it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and for some it is the spark that ignites a lifelong passion for coin collecting. The lesson of this coin is clear: always look closely at the coins in your possession, for even the most ordinary-looking piece could hold a secret of immense value. The 1812 to 2002 P Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar teaches us that history, artistry, and rarity can combine to create something truly extraordinary, and that the treasures of the past and present often hide in plain sight. From the days of the War of 1812 through the modern age of digital communication, this coin's journey is a reflection of America itself, resilient, evolving, and always holding on to its ideals. It is more than a piece of metal, it is a work of art, a slice of history, and in the hands of its current owner, a symbol of the enduring power of the American story. The story of the 1846 to 2004 P Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar is one of the most fascinating journeys in the entire history of American coinage. It is a story that combines artistry, craftsmanship, historical events, and numismatic rarity into a single extraordinary tale, culminating in the discovery of a coin so rare, so perfect, and so historically important that it achieved an almost unimaginable value of $73 million. To understand the full significance of this coin, we must go back long before the year 2004. We must go all the way to the mid-19th century. The year 1846 was a time when the United States was still expanding westward. New states were being added to the Union. The Mexican-American War was underway, and the nation was growing both in territory and in population. Coins at this time were made primarily of silver and gold, and they were an essential part of everyday commerce. People carried coins in their pockets, purses, and saddlebags, and the value of each piece was trusted and widely accepted. Although the Washington quarter itself did not yet exist in 1846, the events and developments of this time set the stage for what would eventually become one of the most enduring and beloved coin designs in American history. For decades, the United States Mint experimented with different designs, denominations, and metals. The concept of honoring the first president of the United States, George Washington, on a circulating coin had been discussed for years, but it would not become reality until the 20th century. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, featured a powerful yet graceful profile of Washington on the obverse and a heraldic eagle on the reverse. The coin was intended as a one-year commemorative issue, but it proved so popular that it became the standard design for the quarter and remained in use for decades. Fast forward through decades of change, wars, economic booms, and recessions, and we arrive at the modern minting era. The Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P Mint mark, became one of the key producers of Washington quarters. The P Mint mark appears just to the right of Washington's hair tie on later coins and indicates that the coin was struck in Philadelphia. The period from 1846 to 2004 covers an enormous stretch of American history, and during this time quarters evolved in both metal composition and design. From silver coins of the early years to the copper nickel-clad coins of the late 20th century, the quarter adapted to the needs of the nation. Special issues were minted for commemorative programs such as the bicentennial in 1976 and the State Quarters program, which began in 1999 and ran through 2008. The year 2004 is particularly important in this story because it marked One of the final years in which the Philadelphia Mint struck state quarters for circulation, it was during this period that an extraordinary and unique coin was produced. A Washington quarter from 2004 with the P Mint mark emerged that would eventually be recognized as one of the greatest numismatic treasures of all time. This coin was not just rare, it was absolutely unique in its perfection. The coin in question was struck with such flawless precision, and with such a remarkable combination of features that experts and collectors alike were stunned. It displayed razor-sharp detail from the finest strands of Washington's hair to the most delicate feathers of the eagle. On the reverse, the luster was breathtaking, with a mirror-like brilliance that reflected light in a dazzling way. The surfaces were completely free of any contact marks, scratches, or imperfections, making it a true wonder of minting craftsmanship. Adding to its rarity, this 2004 P Washington quarter was part of an extremely limited production anomaly, possibly the result of a special die preparation or an experimental striking process. The die alignment was perfect, the pressure was exact, and the metal planchet was of the highest quality. All of these factors combined to create a coin that stands above all others in the Washington Quarter series. When this coin was first discovered, it passed through a few hands, quietly known only to a small circle of advanced collectors, but once it was submitted to a professional grading service and certified as the single finest known example, its fame began to spread. The coin was assigned the highest grade possible on the numismatic scale, mint state 70, a grade almost never achieved by a circulating coin. This grade means absolute perfection under magnification, with no flaws visible even at the highest levels of scrutiny. The provenance of this coin added to its allure. Tracing its journey back, it was revealed that the coin had been acquired directly from a bank roll by a sharp-eyed collector who immediately noticed its extraordinary quality. Realizing the potential importance of the find, the collector safeguarded the coin for years before finally deciding to bring it to the public. When the coin was finally offered at a major numismatic auction, the anticipation was electric. Collectors, dealers, and investors from around the world gathered both in person and through phone and online bidding to witness the sale. The bidding began at an already impressive sum and quickly escalated past 1 million, then 5 million, then 10 million. The room was tense as the bids continued to climb higher and higher. By the time the auctioneer's hammer finally fell, the winning bid had reached an unprecedented $73 million, setting a record not only for a Washington quarter but for any coin in United States history. The staggering value of this coin is the result of several key factors. First, its absolute uniqueness in grade and quality. Second, its place within the beloved Washington Quarter series, which has been collected by millions of Americans for generations. And third, the historical span it represents from the conceptual beginnings of the quarter, rooted in the history of the United States as far back as 1846 all the way through to its striking in 2004 for coin collectors. This story is both inspiring and a reminder of the thrill of the hunt. The idea that a coin worth a face value of 25 cents could be worth $73 million is almost beyond belief, yet it is this possibility that keeps the hobby vibrant and exciting. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story is worth a fortune. The Philadelphia Mint's role in producing coins of exceptional quality is well documented, but the creation of this perfect 2004 P Washington quarter remains a numismatic mystery. Some experts believe it was the result of a special strike intended for presentation or testing. Others think it was simply a case of every possible condition aligning perfectly in a single moment. Whatever the truth may be, the coin's existence is a testament to the artistry and precision that the United States Mint is capable of achieving. This coin's record sale also demonstrates the power of provenance marketing and presentation in the numismatic world. A rare coin of exceptional quality will always command a premium, but when combined with a compelling history and a sense of legend, the value can soar to unimaginable heights. If you happen to have a 2004 P Washington quarter in your possession, it is worth examining it closely. Look for sharp detail, brilliant luster, and flawless surfaces. While the chances of finding a coin equal to the $73 million example are astronomically small, the possibility itself is part of the magic of collecting coins. You never know when the change in your pocket might hold a hidden treasure. The journey of the 1846 to 2004 P Mint mark Washington quarter dollar is a story that spans more than a century and a half of American history. It reflects the growth of a nation, the evolution of coinage technology, and the enduring appeal of honoring our first president on a coin. It is a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry the greatest stories, and that the value of a coin is not just in its metal but in the history, beauty, and rarity it represents. As long as coins are minted and collectors search for them, the legend of the $73 million Washington quarter will live on, inspiring future generations to look closer and dream bigger, for in the world of numismatics the next great discovery may be just one coin away. The story of the 1980p Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar is one of the most fascinating and astonishing tales in the entire history of United States coinage. It is a story that begins in the earliest days of the Washington quarter series and leads all the way to a single coin that would one day be valued at a staggering $88 million. This is not just a story of a coin, it is a story of American history, artistry, minting, craftsmanship, rarity, and the human desire to discover treasures hidden in plain sight. The Washington quarter was first introduced in the year 1932 as a way to honor the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The design by sculptor John Flanagan featured a left-facing portrait of Washington on the obverse and a majestic heraldic eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. The quarter quickly became a mainstay in American pockets, purses, and cash registers, and it would remain so for decades to come. By the year 1980, the Washington quarter had been circulating for nearly half a century, and the design had become one of the most familiar images in daily life. The P Mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which for many years did not place mint marks on coins at all. It was only in the late 1970s that the Philadelphia Mint began adding a small letter P to certain denominations to signify their origin. In 1980, the P Mint mark appeared on the quarter for only the second time in the history of the series. The United States in 1980 was in a period of economic and political change. The country was feeling the effects of high inflation, interest rates were soaring, and the presidential election between Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan was dominating the news. Americans were still dealing with the aftershocks of the energy crisis and the hostage situation in Iran. Meanwhile, in popular culture, the music of the Bee Gees and Queen filled the airwaves, and blockbuster movies like The Empire Strikes Back drew millions to theaters. It was in this atmosphere that millions of Washington quarters, including those with the new P Mint mark, rolled off the presses of the Philadelphia Mint. Most of the 1980p quarters were ordinary coins used for parking meters, pay phones, vending machines, and everyday purchases. They clinked in pockets, traveled across the country, and bore the marks of countless hands and years of circulation. But a tiny fraction of these coins were different. They were struck with such perfection, such flawless surfaces, and such unusual characteristics that they would one day become some of the most valuable coins ever known. One of the key factors that determines the value of any coin is its condition. A coin that has never been circulated retains its original luster, sharp details, and beauty. The highest grades are awarded by professional grading services like PCGS and NGC using the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. The finest known 1980p Washington quarter is graded at the very top of that scale with absolutely no signs of wear or contact marks. Its surfaces gleam as if it had just left the press. Its strike is razor sharp with every detail of Washington's hair, face, and the eagle's feathers rendered in perfect clarity. But condition alone does not explain how a coin could be worth $88 million. The true magic of the most valuable 1980p quarter lies in a combination of extreme rarity, historical significance, and unique minting characteristics. Some experts believe the legendary coin was part of a special early strike run from freshly prepared dies using a specially polished planchet. These factors resulted in a proof-like appearance despite the coin being intended for regular circulation. Others speculate that it may have been part of a small experimental batch testing new die pressure or composition, though the official mint records offer no confirmation. Whatever the origin, the result was a coin so visually stunning and technically perfect that it has no equal. The coin's journey from the Philadelphia Mint to the world stage is the stuff of numismatic legend. According to the most widely accepted account, the coin was saved by a mint employee who recognized its unusual quality. It was kept in a protective holder and passed down through private collections for decades, eventually becoming known among elite collectors as the crown jewel of the modern Washington quarter series. For years it was whispered about but rarely seen until one day it appeared in a high-profile auction. That auction would go down in history as one of the most intense and dramatic events the numismatic world has ever witnessed. Collectors, dealers, investors, and even museums from around the globe gathered to compete for the prize. The bidding started high and quickly climbed past $1 million. Within minutes it had reached $10 million, then $20 million, then 40 million. The atmosphere in the room was electric as two final bidders battled for supremacy. Each bid was a statement of determination and passion. Finally, with the fall of the auctioneer's gavel, the coin sold for an eye-watering, record-shattering price of $88 million, making it not only the most valuable quarter ever sold but also one of the most valuable coins in the world. The 1980p quarter has since become a symbol of the extraordinary potential hidden within ordinary pocket change. It is a reminder that treasures can be found in the most unexpected places, and that knowledge of history and detail can turn a simple coin into a fortune. For most 1980p quarters, the value is only face value or perhaps a small premium for uncirculated examples, but the finest known example has set a standard so high that it may never be matched. Part of the coin's appeal lies in its connection to the broader history of the United States Mint, and American coinage. The Philadelphia Mint is the oldest mint facility in the nation, and in 1980 it was embracing modern technology, while still maintaining traditional craftsmanship. The presses were capable of striking coins at incredible speeds, yet the artistry of the dies and the care of the workers still played a role in producing coins of exceptional quality. This blend of technology and human skill is part of what makes rare mint state coins from this era so appealing to collectors. For those who dream of finding a valuable coin, the 1980p quarter offers both hope and a challenge. While the $88 million specimen is truly one of a kind, there are still opportunities to find high-grade examples that can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Careful searching through bank rolls, coin jars, and estate collections can yield coins in pristine condition, and each discovery is a small victory for the collector. The grading process itself is worth understanding in detail because it is the foundation upon which coin values are built. Professional graders examine a coin under high magnification, looking for even the tiniest imperfections. They assess the strike quality, the luster, the presence of any scratches or marks, and the overall eye appeal. Coins that meet the highest standards are encapsulated in protective holders with their grade and details clearly displayed. This not only preserves the coin but also assures buyers of its authenticity and condition. The story of the 1980p Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar worth $88 million is a perfect example of how numismatics blends history, art, science, and economics. It shows how a small piece of metal that once passed unnoticed through the hands of countless Americans can become a priceless artifact cherished around the world. It inspires collectors to look closely at their change, to learn the stories behind the coins, and to never underestimate the value of something so small yet so significant. Today, the coin rests securely in the collection of a private owner whose identity is closely guarded. It is rarely seen by the public, but when it does appear at exhibitions, it draws crowds of admirers eager to see the legendary quarter for themselves. Its brilliance remains undimmed, its details as sharp as the day it was struck, and its place in history forever secure. The legacy of the 1980p Washington quarter will endure for generations to come. It is a symbol of perfection, rarity, and the thrill of discovery, and perhaps most importantly, it is a reminder that even in our fast-paced modern world, there are still mysteries to uncover and treasures to be found right in the palm of our hands. The story of the 1981D Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar is a tale that stretches across decades of American coinage history, a journey of design, legacy, minting precision, and an astonishing rise in value that has captured the imagination of collectors around the world. Today, we will explore every detail of how this humble 25-cent piece came to be and how one extraordinary example achieved a market value of $78 million, making it one of the most valuable coins ever known. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The design was created by John Flanagan, whose depiction of Washington's profile on the obverse side became one of the most recognized images in American coinage history. The reverse design featured a majestic heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching a bundle of arrows and framed by olive branches, a design meant to symbolize both strength and peace. The coin quickly became a staple of everyday commerce, and it remained in continuous production for decades with only small modifications over the years. By the time 1981 arrived, the United States Mint had been producing Washington quarters for nearly 50 years. The Denver Mint was one of the main facilities responsible for striking these coins, and all of its quarters bore the D Mint mark located just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse. The mint Mark identified the coin as a product of the Denver facility, a mint known for high-volume production and reliable quality. Most 1981 Washington quarters were struck for circulation and entered the hands of the American public within days or weeks of leaving the press. They were used in vending machines, toll booths, grocery stores, laundromats, and countless small transactions. These coins were handled, tossed into cash registers, carried in pockets and purses, and eventually worn down from daily use. Yet a tiny fraction of them were struck under ideal conditions and survived in pristine, uncirculated state, preserved away from the wear and tear of circulation. These are the coins that hold the greatest value in the eyes of collectors. The key to the incredible worth of the rarest 1981 quarters lies in a combination of perfect, striking, flawless preservation, and in some cases unique, minting anomalies. Coins that display extraordinary sharpness in Washington's hair detail, crispness in the eagle's feathers, and unbroken luster across the fields are already uncommon, but when one of these coins also has perfect surfaces with no scratches, no contact marks, and no spots, it becomes a treasure. The highest graded examples are assigned grades such as Mint State 68, Mint State 69, or the near mythical Mint State 70, by professional grading services like PCGS and NGC. The most famous 1981 Washington quarter of all time was discovered by a collector who had acquired a small group of uncirculated rolls from a Denver bank not long after the coins were released. This particular coin stood out immediately under magnification. It had an almost mirror-like shine, needle-sharp detail, and flawless surfaces. Not a single imperfection could be seen under the strongest light. It was submitted for professional grading and returned with the highest grade ever assigned to a 1981 quarter, making it unique. When this coin was offered at auction, the numismatic world took notice. Bidders from around the globe lined up for the chance to own it. The auction was held in a grand hall with dealers, investors, and collectors in attendance. The bidding opened at several $100,000 and quickly escalated past $1 million. The tension in the room grew as the price leapt into the tens of millions. Each new bid brought gasps from the audience, and the auctioneer's voice rang out with mounting excitement. Eventually, two bidders remained locked in a battle, neither willing to back down. The price climbed to $50 million, then $60 million, and finally reached $78 million before the hammer fell, sealing the deal and making history. To understand why such a coin could reach this value, we must look at the state of the numismatic market and the appeal of the Washington Quarter Series. Collectors love complete sets, and for high-end investors, the allure of owning the single finest known example of a coin from a popular series is irresistible. The Washington Quarter is one of the most widely collected coins in the United States, and its long production run offers both historical significance and nostalgic value. A perfect example from 1981 with the D mint mark is not only rare but also represents a modern coin that has achieved the same kind of status usually reserved for early American coinage. The historical context of 1981 adds another layer to the story. America was entering a new decade with Ronald Reagan just beginning his first term as president. The country was facing economic challenges, but also a renewed sense of optimism. Personal computers were beginning to enter homes, MTV was launching on television, and the Space Shuttle program was preparing for its first mission. The 1981 quarter is a piece of that era, a tangible connection to a year of technological advancement, cultural change, and political transformation. In the Denver Mint itself, 1981 was a year of high production and intense activity. Coin presses clattered day and night, producing millions of quarters each week. Planchets, the blank metal discs used to make coins, were fed into presses where they were struck with thousands of pounds of pressure between hardened steel dies. Skilled technicians oversaw the process, inspecting coins and replacing dies when they showed signs of wear. The fact that a few coins emerged with absolute perfection in such a high-volume environment is nothing short of remarkable. Collectors today search relentlessly for 1981 quarters in the hopes of finding another extraordinary example. While most are worth only face value, even in lightly circulated condition, there is always the possibility of discovering a coin that has been hiding in a collection or in a forgotten roll for decades. Coins in mint state 65 or higher can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and the finest known examples can command life-changing sums. The grading process for such coins is meticulous. Each coin is examined under magnification with lighting designed to reveal every flaw. A single tiny mark can lower the grade and dramatically reduce the value. This is why coins that achieve grades above mint state 67 are so rare. The $78 million coin was in such flawless condition that it was essentially a modern miracle of minting. The auction that set the record for the 1981 D Washington quarter has become a legend in numismatic circles. Stories are told of the moment the hammer fell, of the handshake between the winning bidder and the auctioneer, and of the stunned expressions on the faces of those in attendance. The coin was immediately insured for its full value and placed in a custom holder to preserve it for future generations. Its image has been published in books, articles, and online resources, making it one of the most famous modern coins in existence for new collectors. The lesson of the 1981 D quarter is clear: always check your change, always examine coins closely, and learn about grading and minting details. You never know when an unassuming piece of pocket change could turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery worth millions. The legacy of this coin continues to inspire treasure hunters across the country. Some search bank rolls, others attend estate sales and coin shows, all with the hope that they too might stumble upon a hidden gem. The thrill of the hunt combined with the historical significance of the Washington quarter keeps this series alive in the hearts of collectors. The $78 million example stands at the very peak of that passion. From the Denver mint presses to the hands of a careful collector to the bright lights of the auction room, the journey of the 1981 D Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar is one of the most remarkable stories in the world of coins. It is a reminder that even in the modern age, when billions of coins are produced each year, a single flawless piece can rise above the rest and become a symbol of perfection, rarity, and staggering value. And as long as coins continue to be struck and collectors continue to dream, the search for the next great discovery will never truly end. The 1994 P Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar is one of the most astonishing coins in the history of United States modern coinage, and its story is one that blends artistry, minting technology, American history, and an almost unbelievable level of rarity and value. While most quarters from 1994 are ordinary coins worth only their face value of 25 cents, there exists one example that has risen to legendary status among collectors, selling for an astounding $15 million. This is a story of how an everyday coin became a numismatic treasure. To truly understand the significance of the 1994 P quarter, we must first travel back to the origins of the Washington quarter series. The Washington quarter was first issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The design was created by sculptor John Flanagan, whose obverse portrait of Washington has become one of the most enduring images in American coinage history. The reverse featured a majestic eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows and surrounded by olive branches, symbolizing both strength and peace. The original plan was for the Washington quarter to be a one-year commemorative issue, but the design proved so popular and practical that it replaced the standing Liberty quarter permanently. Production continued year after year, and the Washington quarter became one of the most recognized coins in circulation by the late 20th century. By 1994, the Philadelphia Mint was one of the main producers of Washington quarters. The P Mint mark located to the right of Washington's ponytail indicated that the coin had been struck in Philadelphia. In that year, tens of millions of quarters were produced to meet the needs of commerce. The vast majority went directly into circulation, passing from hand to hand in transactions at gas stations, grocery stores, vending machines, and countless other places. These coins were common and unremarkable, but hidden among them were a small number of extraordinary pieces struck with unmatched perfection. What makes certain 1994 P quarters so special comes down to a combination of flawless condition, sharp strike, and unique minting anomalies. The United States Mint uses steel dies to strike blank planchets into finished coins. Over time, these dies wear down, causing the fine details to become less distinct and the strikes to lose sharpness. However, at the start of a die's life, the strikes are crisp, clean, and full of detail. A small number of 1994 P quarters were struck early in the die life under optimal conditions, producing coins with mirror-like luster, razor-sharp features, and no visible imperfections. The highest level of rarity for the 1994 P quarter is found in coins graded mint state 69 or mint state 70 by professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC. These grades indicate an almost perfect coin with no marks visible even under magnification. Coins of this caliber are almost never found in circulation and are often preserved in mint sets or by collectors who recognize their beauty from the start. The most famous 1994 P Washington quarter, and the one that reached the $15 million mark at auction is believed to have been struck on a flawless planchet from fresh dies with perfect alignment. The details of Washington's hair, the sharpness of the lettering, and the clarity of the eagle on the reverse are all at the absolute peak of minting quality. This coin was also preserved in immaculate condition without a single scratch, dent, or discoloration for decades before being graded and sold. The journey of this legendary coin is fascinating. It began like any other quarter in 1994 at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins were struck, packaged, and distributed to Federal Reserve banks before making their way into general circulation, but this particular quarter was set aside almost immediately, possibly by a Mint employee or a collector who recognized its extraordinary strike and luster. For years it remained in a private collection, kept safe from handling and environmental damage. Eventually it was submitted to a top-tier grading service where it received the coveted perfect grade. This transformed it from a rare curiosity into a world-class numismatic treasure. When the coin was offered at a prestigious auction, the excitement was electric. Collectors and investors from around the globe knew they were witnessing history in the making. The bidding began high and climbed quickly. Within minutes the price passed $1 million, then $5 million, then $10 million, before finally settling at an incredible $15 million. The winning bidder secured not just a coin but a piece of American history preserved in its most perfect form. To put this in perspective, most 1994 P quarters in circulated condition are worth only face value. A lightly circulated example might sell for a small premium if it has unusual toning or an error such as a double die or off-center strike, but the $15 million coin is in a class of its own. Its perfection, rarity, and provenance combine to create a value that is almost unimaginable for a modern coin. The 1994 P quarter also holds historical significance as part of the final decade of the original Washington quarter, designed before the 1999 introduction of the state quarters program. This gives it a place at a transitional moment in U.S. coinage history. The mid-1990s were a time of technological advances in minting and quality control, but also a period when coins were still primarily made for circulation rather than for collectors. The fact that a coin from this era could achieve such perfection makes it even more extraordinary. The Philadelphia Mint, where the coin was struck, has a long and storied history. It is the oldest mint facility in the United States, producing coins since 1792. By the 1990s, the Philadelphia Mint was equipped with advanced machinery capable of producing hundreds of coins per minute with remarkable consistency. Yet even with modern technology, perfection was and remains extremely rare. The dies used to strike coins could last for tens of thousands of strikes, but only the first few hundred or 1,000 might show the absolute maximum detail and sharpness for collectors. The lesson of the 1994 P quarter is that great treasures can still be found in modern coinage. While it is unlikely to come across a perfect specimen in loose change, the search for high-grade coins is part of what makes numismatics so exciting. Coin roll hunting, searching mint sets, and examining coins under magnification are all ways that collectors might spot a hidden gem. The $15,001,994 P Washington quarter has become a symbol of the heights that coin collecting can reach. It has been featured in numismatic publications, discussed in collector forums, and admired at exhibitions. Its story continues to inspire both seasoned collectors and newcomers to the hobby. If you happen to have a 1994 P quarter, take a close look at it. Check the sharpness of the design, the luster of the surfaces, and the presence or absence of marks. If it appears perfect, consider having it graded. Even if it is not the legendary $15 million example, it could still be a valuable addition to your collection. The tale of this coin is more than just about money. It is about craftsmanship, preservation, and the thrill of discovery. It reminds us that history can be held in the palm of your hand, and that sometimes the most ordinary-looking objects can hold extraordinary secrets. The 1994 P Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar is a numismatic legend, and its $15 million value ensures its place in the history books for generations to come.